On the day I buried my husband, my son, and his wife handed me eviction papers. I thought grief would be the hardest part until I uncovered the lies, the forged will, and the truth my husband tried to leave behind. This is how I lost everything, then quietly took it all back. This story may feel familiar or painfully close to home.
So stay until the end.
Sometimes, the people we trust the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. I clutched the edge of Stephen's casket as the rain soaked through my black gloves. He would have hated this weather, I whispered, mostly to myself. The priest's voice faded behind my heartbeat. I could barely stand. My legs shook, but Ethan did not offer his arm. He just stood there, his eyes dry, hands folded like a stranger. Chloe stood next to him, tapping her phone under her umbrella. She did not even pretend to cry. When the final prayer ended, I turned to Ethan. "Will you ride with me back home?" I asked, my voice trembling. He blinked. Chloe already called for a car. "Oh," I said.
That was all I could say.
Just oh. The ride back was silent. I stared out the window, rain dripping like tears against the glass. I wondered if anyone in that cemetery remembered me as anything but Stephen's wife. At home, I stepped into the living room and took a deep breath. Stephen's favorite chair still had the pillow with the faded gold trim. His slippers sat untouched by the fireplace. Everything still smelled like him: old books, tobacco, peppermint. I lowered myself into the armchair across from his. "Myrtle," Chloe called sharply, her heels clicking against the wooden floor. I looked up. She was already unzipping her coat. "We need to talk," she said, glancing around the room like it offended her. "Can it wait?" "Just a moment, Chloe. Please."
No.
"I have been patient enough," she snapped. "Now that your husband is dead, grieve, pack your bags, and never come back." I blinked. "I beg your pardon?" I asked, thinking I had heard wrong. "You heard me." Her tone was ice. "This is no longer your home." Ethan stood behind her, silent. "Ethan." I turned to him. "Tell me this is a mistake." He looked at the floor. "Chloe and we talked. We agreed this arrangement is no longer healthy for any of us." "Arrangement?" My voice cracked. "This is my home. I have lived here for 42 years. You were born in that room upstairs." "That was before," Chloe cut in. "Before Stephen made other arrangements." "What arrangements?" I asked, standing now, my hands shaking. "He transferred the deed months ago," she said coolly.
To Ethan.
"Legally, you are a guest, and we are asking you to leave." I turned to Ethan again.
Why?
"Why would your father do that?" "I do not know," he muttered. "You do not know?" I nearly laughed. He never mentioned it to me. Not once. "He must have had his reasons," Chloe shrugged. "Maybe he wanted to protect the property. Either way, this is not a debate." "You want me to leave now? After burying my husband this morning?" "You have 2 weeks," Chloe said. "Be grateful for that." I stared at her. Grateful? For what? Being thrown out of the only home I have ever known. Ethan still said nothing. "I cooked your meals," I whispered. "I raised you. I stayed up when you were sick. I held you when you cried." "Mom, please do not make this harder than it is," Ethan said weakly. "Harder for who?" My voice rose. "You? Is this difficult for you?" He flinched. "I did not want this." "Then stop it." "I cannot." "You can, Ethan. You are just too weak to do it." Chloe folded her arms. "We are not doing this right now. Start packing, Myrtle. The guest room will be locked in 2 weeks." I sank into the chair again. "Your father would never." "He is gone," Chloe snapped. "And now, so are you." I looked at Ethan. "Do you even care what this is doing to me?" "I am sorry, Mum."
No.
"You are not. If you are sorry, you would not let her speak to me like that. You would not stand there like a coward." Chloe grabbed his arm. "Let us go. We have said what needed to be said." They turned to leave. "Ethan," I called again. He hesitated, then followed her. The front door clicked shut. I was alone. The house creaked. The wind howled. The rain still tapped against the windows, as if mocking me. I stood up, walked to Stephen's old chair, and sat down slowly. My eyes landed on the fireplace. Our last winter together, he had made us cocoa and told me he felt tired. That was the night the coughing began. I touched the armrest, remembering how his fingers used to drum softly against it when he read. "Why did you not tell me?" I whispered. "Why would you change the deed?" No answer came, of course. I stared at the clock.
Tick, tick, tick.
Every sound in the room felt louder now. I stood again, walked toward the hallway, then stopped. On the table by the stairs, a folded paper peeked out from under a photo frame. I picked it up. My name was on the front. It was Stephen's handwriting, but I did not open it.
Not yet.
I just stood there, letter in hand, heart in pieces, wondering if I had just been buried with my husband, and no one had noticed. I waited until dinner was finished. Not that they invited me. I sat alone in my room, listening to their forks scraping against the plates. When the noise died down, I stepped out into the hallway. "Ethan," I called. My voice echoed a little. He looked up from the couch, startled. Chloe stayed glued to her phone. "I need to speak with both of you," I said. Chloe raised an eyebrow.
Now.
"Yes, now." She crossed her legs.
Fine. Speak.
I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Why is the deed in Ethan's name?" Chloe did not even flinch. She reached into her handbag, pulled out a folder, and tossed it onto the coffee table. "Because Stephen changed it months ago," she said.
Here.
"See for yourself." I opened the folder with trembling hands. There it was, Ethan's name, stamped and signed. "I do not understand," I whispered. "It is pretty simple," she said. "You have been living here rent-free." Rent-free. My voice cracked. "This is my house." Ethan finally spoke. It was Dad's house. "And I was his wife," I snapped. "For over 40 years. He never said a word about this." "He made the decision," Chloe said flatly. "And he had every right." I turned to Ethan. "Did you know about this?" He hesitated. "Not at first." "At what point did you find out?" 2 months ago." 2 months, I repeated. "And you never thought to mention it?" He looked down. "I did not want to upset you. You stood there beside me at the funeral. You watched me break. And still, you stayed silent." "Mum, please."
No.
"Do not call me that right now." Chloe leaned forward. "We are trying to be civil here." "Civil?" I laughed bitterly. "You handed me eviction papers and called it civil." "It is not eviction," she said. "It is transition. We need space." "I never asked to live here forever," I said. "I stayed to care for Stephen, to help you both. I never imagined I would be thrown out like trash." "No one's throwing you out," Ethan muttered. "You are letting her do it." He stayed quiet. I turned back to Chloe. "What did you promise him?" She blinked. "Excuse me? Stephen. What did you offer him in exchange for this betrayal?" "Are you accusing me of something?" she said sharply. "I am asking you to tell the truth." Her lips curled. "You are grasping at ghosts." "No," I said. "I am staring at the woman who took everything from me." Ethan stood. "That is enough." I stood too. "Then make it enough, Ethan. Say something. Be the son I raised." His face turned red. "I cannot fix this." "You could have stopped it," I whispered. "You could have told me." I did not know what to do. Chloe laughed. "Of course he did not. That is why Stephen made the decision himself. He knew you would not leave unless he forced your hand." "That is a lie," I said. "He trusted me. He loved me." "He changed the deed," she said. "That is love." I stared at her. "I do not believe he would do that without a reason." "Then maybe you did not know him as well as you thought," she said coldly. I walked to the fireplace, clutching the folder in my hand.
He was sick.
His mind was cloudy. Maybe someone took advantage. Chloe rolled her eyes.
Please.
Do not make this a conspiracy theory. I looked at Ethan. Are you really going to let her speak to me like this?
He sighed.
She is just being honest. Honest, I snapped. Or cruel. Chloe stood now. This conversation is going nowhere. You have 13 days left. Make them count. I will not leave without answers. Then you will waste your time, she said, because the answer is already printed on those documents. She walked out of the room, heels clicking like a countdown. Ethan lingered. You know this is wrong, I said quietly. He rubbed the back of his neck. I do not know what is right anymore. You are hurting me. I know. I am your mother. I know, he whispered again. Then why are you doing this? He looked at the floor. Because I am tired of choosing between you and her. You never had to choose, I said. I never asked you to. He looked at me with glassy eyes. Yes, you did. Every time you looked at her like she was not good enough. Every time you corrected her, sighed when she entered the room, or whispered behind her back. I never hated her, I said. But I saw what she was. I saw what you refused to see. I love her, he said. And I loved your father, I replied. But love does not excuse betrayal. He turned and walked upstairs. I stood alone, holding a deed with someone else's name on it in the home I once called mine. 14 days, Chloe repeated, standing in the doorway. Do not drag it out. I stood in the middle of the guest room with a half-zipped suitcase on the bed. You said 2 weeks, I muttered. That was 3 days ago. She smiled faintly. Then you have 11 left. Better get started. I did not answer. Do you need help packing? She added, voice dripping with false kindness. I will manage, I said flatly. She walked off without another word. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the open suitcase. Empty shelves. Folded sweaters. I had not even touched the drawer where Stephen kept our old photographs. I heard a soft knock. Grace peeked in. May I? She asked. I nodded. She stepped inside and closed the door behind her. I just wanted to check on you, she said. You have not eaten much today. I have not felt like it. She looked around the room, then leaned closer. She's been planning this for months. I blinked. What did you say? I heard her, she whispered. Chloe. She was talking to someone on the phone back in February. Said you were a loose end that needed tying up. My stomach dropped. Did Stephen know? Grace paused. I am not sure. But he was quieter around her near the end. Always locked up in his study. I clutched the edge of the bed. I knew something was off, I said. He started hiding letters, closing his drawer when I walked in. Grace hesitated. If you need help finding anything, I remember where he kept the small key. What key? The one for the drawer in his old desk. She pulled it from her apron pocket. He told me to hide it just before he got worse, she said. Said you might need it someday. My fingers closed around the cool metal. Thank you, Grace. Be careful, she said. Chloe watches everything. I nodded. That night, once the house went quiet, I crept into Stephen's study. I had not stepped inside since the funeral. The desk sat untouched, dust settling on the surface. I slid the key into the drawer and turned it. Inside were 2 envelopes and a small notebook. The first envelope was blank. The second had a name written on it, Julia. I opened the drawer wider. A gust of memory hit me. Stephen sitting at this desk late at night, scribbling while I made tea, always hiding the paper when I entered. I opened the letter. My dearest Julia, I have tried to write this many times. I failed you. I failed Myrtle. I thought time would fix what I broke, but it never did. I stopped reading. My hands trembled. Who was Julia? I took the notebook and flipped through its pages. Numbers. Property listings. Bank names I did not recognize. I whispered to the empty room. What were you hiding from me, Stephen? I folded the letter carefully, slid it back into the envelope, and returned it to the drawer. I would read it later, when my heart felt steadier. The next morning, Chloe stood by the staircase, with a clipboard in her hand. You have boxes arriving today, she said. For your things. I am not trash to be boxed up, I snapped. I am being efficient. That is all. I walked past her without a word. In the kitchen, Ethan sat at the table, drinking coffee. You knew about the letter? I asked. He looked up. What letter? From your father. Addressed to someone named Julia. I have never heard of her. You never heard a lot of things, it seems. I do not want to fight, he said.
No.
You never did. That is how we ended up here. He stood. Do you want help packing? I stared at him. I do not want help, I said. I want answers. He had none. He left the kitchen in silence. Later that evening, I sat in the garden with Grace. Do you know who Julia is? I asked her. She shook her head.
No, ma'am.
But the name sounds familiar. She meant something to Stephen. Grace hesitated. Maybe it is time you asked someone outside this house. I have no one left, I said quietly. What about your sister? She asked suddenly. I turned to her. She moved away years ago, I said. We lost touch after our parents died. What was her name? Julia. We stared at each other. It cannot be, I whispered. Grace touched my arm. What if it is? I stood up. Then I need to find her. Do you have any idea where she went? No, I said. But I will find out. I stood at Anna's doorstep with nothing but 2 bags and a storm behind my eyes. She opened the door before I could knock. You finally came, she said. I had nowhere else, I whispered. You always had here. Her arms wrapped around me, warm, firm, and smelling faintly of lavender. I nearly collapsed into her. Inside, the house felt like time had stopped. The same floral wallpaper, the same ticking clock, the same softness in her presence. I'll make tea, she said, already heading toward the kitchen. I sat on the couch and stared at my hands. They would not stop shaking. When she returned, I took the cup and barely sipped. I buried Stephen 5 days ago, I said. She nodded. Ethan and Chloe, they gave me 2 weeks to leave. Said the house was not mine. Her eyes narrowed. They did what? I pulled the folded letter from my coat pocket and handed it to her. Stephen left this. I found it hidden in his desk. It was addressed to Julia. She unfolded the paper and began reading. Her expression shifted from confusion to disbelief. I knew it, she whispered. Knew what? She looked up. Julia is your sister. I stared at her.
No.
Julia disappeared after our father's funeral. We stopped talking. I tried writing. She never got the letters. Anna cut in. Stephen made sure of that. What are you saying? She folded the letter slowly. I mean, he kept you apart. Why would he do that? Because Julia hated him, she said. She never trusted him. And Stephen, he wanted control. That's ridiculous, I said, even though a small part of me knew it was not. Myrtle, Anna said gently. Do you remember the last time Julia came to town?
Yes.
She left angry. She left after an argument with Stephen. I was there. He told her to stay away for your sake. I leaned back in my seat. Why would he keep that from me? Because he feared she would convince you to leave him. I shook my head. I never knew. I did, Anna admitted. But I thought he had good reasons. I believed he was protecting you. He lied to me. I think he loved you the only way he knew how. But yes, he lied. Tears welled in my eyes. So Julia never abandoned me?
No.
She was pushed out. I looked down at my tea. It had gone cold. I have to find her, I said. Anna nodded. We will. She might not want to see me.
She will.
I do not know where she is. I do, Anna said quietly. I never lost touch. My head snapped up. You've been in contact with her all these years? She made me promise not to tell you. She wanted to reach out, but she was scared you'd hate her. I never hated her, I whispered. I know that now, Anna said. And she'll too. I took a deep breath. Then help me.
Please.
I will, she said. But you have to be ready for what comes next. I am. She reached out and held my hand. Then we begin tomorrow. Anna and I sat across from a man in a dusty gray suit who smelled faintly of pipe smoke and paper. Ben Whitmore. Stephen's old law school friend. It's been a while, Myrtle, Ben said, his voice soft. Not long enough, I replied, crossing my arms. He gave a sad smile. I suppose I deserve that. You knew what they did to me? I asked. I knew pieces. Not enough to stop it. But I called you here because I owe Stephen something. I blinked. You owe Stephen? Ben sighed and pulled a folder from his leather briefcase. 2 weeks before he passed, he came to me. He said he'd made a mistake, putting the house solely in Ethan's name. My heart pounded. What mistake? He wanted to reverse it, Ben continued. Put it back in your name. Legally and fully. Anna leaned in. So why didn't he? He never signed the final draft, Ben said. He died before he could come in again. But this, he slid a paper toward me. This is the draft he approved. I stared at it. My name on the deed. I looked up. Then why did Ethan and Chloe say it was never mine? Ben hesitated. Because Chloe found out. She intercepted the process. What do you mean intercepted? She called my office pretending to be you. She requested we delay the paperwork. Told my secretary you'd changed your mind. My mouth went dry. She impersonated me?
Yes.
And I didn't catch it soon enough. By the time I reached Stephen, he was already hospitalized. Anna's voice was sharp. So, she bought herself time. Yes, Ben said. And from what I understand, used it to convince Ethan that this was for the best. I shook my head. Ethan didn't even flinch when she threw me out. He's weak, Anna muttered. Always was. Ben cleared his throat. There's more. Of course there is, I whispered. He pulled out a second document. Stephen also began rewriting his will. I blinked. He never told me. He planned to surprise you, Ben said. Said he didn't want to cause more stress during his treatment. What did he change? He left everything to you. The house, the accounts, the car. Even some investments I wasn't aware of until recently. And the current will? I asked. Leaves half to Ethan, half in trust for your granddaughter. My hands trembled. But that's not what he wanted at the end. No, Ben said. He meant to leave it all to you. This draft was never finalized, but it's dated, initialed, and clearly written under his direction. Will it hold up in court? Ben looked grim. Possibly. It won't be easy. But you have a strong case. Anna nudged me. You need to fight this, Myrtle. I never wanted to fight, I said. They did, Anna said coldly. And they think they've won. I stared at the draft again. My name. My husband's handwriting. His signature just missing. He tried to fix it, I whispered. Ben nodded. He regretted it deeply. Said he trusted Chloe too much. That you warned him. I did, I said, blinking back tears. I begged him not to give her control. Anna's voice cut like a blade. And now look where she's put you. I closed my eyes. She waited for him to die. She was counting the days. Ben didn't argue. I'm sorry. I failed to act sooner. You didn't fail, I said. You're here now. That matters. Do you want to pursue this legally? Ben asked. I want to ruin her, I said before I could stop myself. Anna gave me a look, half proud, half concerned. Ben straightened. Then I'll begin gathering what we need. I'll file for discovery. I'll subpoena financial documents and correspondence. Will Ethan be pulled into it? Yes, he said. He'll have to answer questions under oath. He'll fold, I murmured. He always folds. Anna touched my hand. And Chloe? She'll fight, I said. She's always been good at pretending. Ben added, This won't be easy, Myrtle. She's smart, calculated. So am I said quietly. Ben looked almost surprised. That's the woman Stephen loved. No, I said. That's the woman he tried to control.
He didn't respond to that.
Anna stood up. Come on, Myrtle. Let's go. We've got a long road ahead. As I followed her out, I paused at the door. Ben. Yes. Thank you for telling me the truth. He nodded. It's never too late to set things right. Maybe not, but it sure as hell was late enough. The town was small, the kind where everyone nodded at strangers and moved slow. I stood on her porch with trembling fingers. 3 decades of silence between us. Then the door opened. Julia stared at me. I whispered, "Hi." Her voice was cold. "He told me not to come near you." I swallowed. "Stephen." She nodded. "Said you hated me." "I never did," I said. "I thought you stopped caring." "I waited," she said. "You never called." "I wrote," I whispered. "Letters. Dozens." "I never got one." I reached into my bag, pulled out the envelope I'd found. "This, he never sent it." She took it slowly. Her fingers shook as she unfolded the paper. Her lips moved silently as she read. "He said he ruined us," she murmured. "Said he lied." I blinked fast. "He told me you left on your own. He told me you never wanted to see me again," she said, voice trembling. I looked at her. Older, wiser, but still my sister. "We were fools," I whispered. "No," she said.
He was.
We stood in silence. Years pressed between us like thick glass. Finally, she stepped aside. "Come in." Her house smelled like jasmine and old books. Familiar, in a way that hurt. I sat down on the worn couch, clutching my bag. Julia sat across from me. "Tea." I nodded. She disappeared into the kitchen, then returned with 2 chipped mugs. "I should have come sooner," I said. She shook her head. "We're here now." I took a deep breath. "He changed the deed. Tried to fix it before he died." She sat straighter. "He told me he was going to. But Chloe stopped it. Manipulated everything." Julia's eyes narrowed. Typical. "I have nothing now," I said. "Except that draft. And that letter." She reached under her coffee table, pulled out a small tin box. "You have more." I frowned. "What's that?" "He gave this to me 2 years ago," she said. "Said if anything ever happened, I should give it to you." She placed it in my lap. I hesitated. "What's inside?" "Truth," she said simply. I opened it. Inside, keys, photocopies, account printouts, and a handwritten note. Julia pointed. "That one. Start there." I unfolded it. "Myrtle, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I kept secrets. Not because I didn't trust you, but because I didn't want to burden you. I opened accounts in your name, bought a property, kept it hidden from Ethan and Chloe. You'll find the details enclosed. I never stopped loving you. I just forgot how to show it. Forgive me, Stephen." I looked up. He left me more?" Julia nodded. "He was planning his escape from them." I pulled out the documents. Bank accounts, investment records, property in Asheville. She smiled faintly. "A little cottage. He bought it in your name." I stared. "Why didn't he tell me?" "Because Chloe would have twisted it," Julia said. "He was afraid. For years, he controlled everything," I said. "And now?" "Now you have leverage," she finished. I blinked. "I do." "More than you think," she added. "Those accounts? They've grown." I laughed bitterly. So while I scrubbed dishes, they thought I had nothing. "They don't know," she said. "Keep it that way." I nodded slowly. "This changes everything." Julia leaned forward. "And it starts with knowing you're not powerless." I met her eyes. "I'm tired of being quiet." "Then speak," she said, loudly. I closed the tin. "Thank you." She smiled. "Sisters again?" I reached out and took her hand. "Always." "Then filed the papers this morning," Julia said. I sat quietly, watching the steam rise from my tea. "And Chloe?" "They'll be served today," she replied. "She won't see it coming." By evening, Ethan was calling. I didn't answer. Then he messaged, "What is this about a court case?"
Mom.
I ignored that too. Ben drove me to the courthouse. I held the old tin box in my lap like armor. "You ready?" he asked. "I've been ready for 30 years," I said. We sat in silence in the courtroom. Chloe strutted in first, heels clicking, fake confidence oozing. Ethan followed, shoulders slumped, eyes sunken.
He wouldn't look at me.
When they saw me, Chloe's lips curled. This is pathetic. Ben leaned in. Let her talk. The more she says, the better. The judge entered. Formalities began. I barely breathed. Ben stood. Your Honor, we have reason to believe the deed transfer made before Mr. Stephen Langley's death was fraudulent, under duress, and against his intended wishes. Chloe rolled her eyes. He continued, we'll present testimony and documents to that effect. First up, Grace. She stepped up timidly. Do you swear to tell the truth? The bailiff asked. I do, Grace said. Ben approached. Grace, how long did you work for Mr. and Mrs. Langley? 22 years. And in that time, did you ever hear conversations regarding the house deed? Grace nodded.
Yes.
Miss Chloe said she'd make sure the old woman didn't get a thing. She laughed about it. Chloe stood suddenly. She's lying. The judge banged her gavel. Sit down, Ms. Langley. Grace went on. She told me to keep quiet. Said she'd fire me if I told anyone. I was afraid. Ben held up a sheet. This is your sworn affidavit? Yes. No further questions. Next was Michael, our neighbor. He took the stand confidently. Michael, did you witness any disputes involving the Langley family around the time of Stephen's death? Michael nodded. I overheard Chloe and Ethan arguing on the porch. She said, you're going to sign it like Dad did, or I swear I'll ruin both of you. Ethan's head dropped into his hands. Chloe snapped, you nosy liar. You were always jealous of us. The judge frowned. One more outburst, Ms. Langley, and I'll hold you in contempt. Ben stepped forward. Did you ever hear Stephen mention changing the will? Michael nodded. He told me at the diner that he wanted to leave everything to his wife. Said he was getting too old to keep secrets. Ben rested his hand on the bench. Thank you. Then Ben turned to me. Myrtle, please approach the stand. I stood, leg steady. Heart not so much. You were married to Stephen Langley for how long? 42 years, I said. Ben nodded. And did he ever inform you of any changes he intended to make regarding the house or assets? I opened my bag and placed the unsigned will, the letter, and the account records on the table. He tried to fix it, I said. He just didn't live long enough. Ben handed the papers to the judge. These were retrieved from a private lockbox. They show intent, notarized but unsigned. And the bank accounts in Mrs. Langley's name prove he was preparing to transfer assets quietly. The judge read silently for a moment. Chloe leapt to her feet. This is insane. He never trusted her. She was senile and pathetic. I stayed seated. Ben turned calmly. Did you coerce your father-in-law into signing anything? She scoffed. Of course not. Even though the signatures on the deed don't match previous legal documents. Chloe froze. Your Honor, Ben continued, we have a forensic handwriting expert prepared to testify that Stephen's signature on the revised deed is forged. Ethan suddenly stood. It's true. Chloe whipped around. Shut up. He looked at me. She made me lie. I didn't know what to do. She said it was all hers anyway. You let her throw me out, I whispered. You let her humiliate me. I'm sorry, he sobbed. I didn't know she'd go this far. I thought you didn't want me anymore after Dad died. I stood slowly. I wanted my son, but you disappeared behind her. The judge looked over her glasses. Enough. I've heard enough. Chloe shrieked. You're going to take her side? Over me? After everything I did for this family? The judge raised her voice. Ms. Langley.
Sit.
Down. Chloe dropped into her chair like a puppet with cut strings. The judge spoke calmly. I find that the evidence and testimony support that the late Mr. Langley intended to revert the property and assets to his wife. The attempted transfer and forged documents are invalid. The original ownership is reinstated. Full ownership is granted to Mrs. Myrtle Langley. All associated assets are to be restored. Chloe's mouth opened, but no sound came. Ethan looked like a boy again.
Lost.
I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just breathed. As we walked out, Chloe lunged at me. You think you've won? This isn't over. I turned to her. It was over the moment you forged his name. Ben stepped between us. Let's go. Outside, Julia was waiting. Well, she asked. I handed her the paper. We got it all back. She hugged me tightly. You looked like a queen in there. I sighed. I didn't feel like one. But you are, she said. You always were. You just forgot. I looked back at the courthouse doors. Chloe didn't follow. Ethan didn't call. Ben walked beside us. There'll be appeals. She won't stop. I'm not afraid, I said. Not anymore. Julia smiled. Let her try. This time, you've got an army. I held the deed in my hands. Not just a house. Proof. A symbol. I had been erased, and now I was written back in. The front door was wide open. Chloe's shoes were gone. Her closet was empty. Only silence remained. Where is she? I asked. Ethan stood in the hallway, shoulders sagging. She left this morning. For good. He nodded. Took the car, her clothes, and whatever cash she could find. Left a note. I waited. He handed me a torn scrap. I'd rather vanish than be humiliated. You ruined everything. I read it twice. She really thinks she's the victim. She always did, he whispered. I stepped into the living room. It felt cold, hollow.
And you?
What now? I don't know, Ethan said, voice cracking. I haven't known anything for a while. I turned. You knew enough to let her evict me. You knew enough to stay quiet. He closed his eyes. I thought I was protecting the family. You watched her strip me of everything. I thought she'd stop, he said. I didn't think she'd really go that far. She threatened staff, forged papers, lied to everyone. I know, he whispered. I see it now. I laughed bitterly.
Now.
He sank into the couch. She poisoned everything. She even turned me against you. You let her, I said. That's what hurts most. He looked up. I was weak. You still are. He blinked rapidly. I deserve that. Silence stretched. The clock ticked louder than it should. I've been thinking, he said. Maybe you could stay. We could start over. I raised an eyebrow. Start over. Here. In the house. You can have the master bedroom again. We'll rebuild. This place? I asked. The one where I was told to pack my bags and leave. His face crumpled. I'm sorry, Mom. You said nothing when she called me pathetic. When she erased your father's wishes. When she threw my memories in boxes like trash. I was ashamed. You should be. He covered his face with his hands. I never wanted this, Mom. I knelt in front of him. But you never stopped it either. Tears slipped down his cheeks. I didn't know how. I stood. You were raised to know right from wrong. You just chose comfort. I thought I was keeping the peace.
No, I said.
You were keeping quiet. That's not the same. He looked up. I want to make it right. It's too late for that. He reached for my hand.
Please.
Don't leave. I pulled away. You can stay, but I'm leaving. He shook his head. Where will you go? I'll figure it out. I have options now. You don't have to run. I'm not running, I said. I'm walking away. There's a difference. You're still my mother, he said quietly. I stared at him. Then act like it. I want to. Then let me go. He looked crushed. You don't forgive me? I didn't say that. He blinked. You mean? I forgive you, I said. But I won't forget. I'll be alone. I sighed. You were never really with me. He stood suddenly. What do you want me to do? Beg. No, I said. I want you to grow. He rubbed his temples. She said you'd twist everything. And she said you were a man. Prove her wrong. He gave a soft, broken laugh. You're colder now. No, I said. I'm clearer. You're not coming back. I came back for justice, I said. Not comfort. I'll fix it. The house, the memories. It's not about furniture, I snapped. It's about dignity. Mine. He nodded slowly. I get it. Good, I whispered. I'll take care of the place. You do that, I said. And take care of yourself too. He looked like a boy again. You were the strongest one all along. I gave a small smile. You just never noticed. He opened his mouth, then closed it again. I walked to the door, suitcase in hand. He followed. Can I call? He asked. I'll answer, I said. Eventually. I love you, he murmured. I paused at the threshold. Then start acting like it. Outside, the wind hit my face. The air felt new, lighter. Ben waited by the car. You okay? I nodded. Yes. Did you tell him? I told him everything he needed to hear. Where to now? Ben asked. Anywhere but back, I said. He opened the car door. You sure about this? I looked back at the house. At the broken window Chloe never fixed. At the porch where I once rocked babies and folded laundry. At the door where they shut me out. Yes, I said. I'm finally sure. Ben smiled. Then let's drive. I got in. The engine hummed. I didn't look back again. Is that where you want the rose bush? Anna asked, brushing dirt from her gloves. I nodded.
Yes.
Right by the porch. I want them to greet me every morning. Symbolic, huh? She teased. Thorns and beauty side by side. I smiled. That's life, isn't it? She knelt, gently patting the soil around the roots. This place suits you. I looked at the cottage. Small, warm, and entirely mine. It's the first time I've owned something with my name on it. No more shared deeds, she said. No more silent partners. No more shadows. Anna sat back. You should be proud. I am, I said softly. The screen door creaked behind us. Julia stepped out with a tray. Fresh lemonade. And Myrtle, I swear if you didn't eat lunch again. I had toast. Toast is not lunch. I'm 81, not 8, I said, but took the glass anyway. Julia sat beside me. I love this garden. It's still growing, I said. Like me. You're different now, Julia said. I'm not angry anymore. Not even at Ethan? I let that part of me go, I said. It was too heavy to carry. Julia took my hand. I missed you. All those years apart, wasted. We have now, I said. That's more than most. Anna wiped her hands on her jeans. Grace coming today? She texted. Running late. Something about flatbread and traffic. She better bring that pie again, Julia said. She will, I laughed. She knows I don't bake. You? You don't do anything that involves flour, Julia said. Or trust, Anna added. I raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? You've built walls, Myrtle, she said. Maybe. But only around the parts one don't want broken again. Julia nodded. Still, you're softer now. Is that a good thing? She looked around. You have flowers growing. You have people showing up. I'd say yes. The gravel crunched under tires. That'll be Grace, I said. She stepped out of her little blue car, carrying a basket. I brought apricot tart and a bottle of homemade peach syrup. Anna clapped. Marry me. Grace laughed. You can't afford me. She hugged me tight. Missed you this week. I missed you too, I said. We sat on the porch for women in our own world. Grace leaned back. The women's group is growing. I nodded. 10 this month. 3 brought children. And you, she asked. Still leading it every Wednesday? Of course. It matters. Julia looked over. Do they know your story? They know I'm someone who survived. That's enough, Anna said. I don't need to list every betrayal or lie, I added. They can see it in my strength. You inspire them, Myrtle, Grace said. I remind them they're not done yet, I corrected. Anna nudged me. How's sleeping? Peaceful, I said. Most nights. And the other nights? Julia asked gently. I cry sometimes, I admitted. They waited. But not from pain, I said. Just memory. Grace squeezed my arm. It's okay to miss parts of what was. I don't miss him, I said. I miss who I used to be with him. Julia whispered. I know that feeling. I used to define myself by who I loved, I said. Now, I define myself by how I live. Anna pointed at the rose bush. That's why you're blooming. I built this home with my own name, I said. No signatures beside mine. No silent debts.
Just me.
You're not alone, though, Grace said.
No.
I chose my people this time. Julia smiled. We're better than any family tree. We're the roots we made ourselves, I said. Anna laughed. All right, enough poetic metaphors. I'm starving. Inside, I said, getting up. Pie is your reward. We moved into the cottage. The walls were light blue. Pictures of wildflowers and handwritten notes from group members hung near the kitchen. Everything smelled like cinnamon and old books. Did you ever hear from Ethan again? Julia asked as she poured tea. He called last Christmas, I said. Left a voicemail. Did you call back?
No.
You still angry?
No.
I'm just done waiting for people to become who they're not. That's hard, Grace said. It's harder staying stuck. We sat in quiet for a moment. Julia reached for my hand again. You did it, Myrtle. What? You survived. And you didn't become bitter. I looked around. The home, the roses, the porch swing, the laughter.
No.
I became better. I think Stephen would be proud, Anna said. I didn't respond right away. I think Stephen would be shocked. Julia chuckled. He thought you needed him. I needed freedom. You found it, Grace said. I built it. The kettle hissed. I got up, poured the water, set the mugs down. The silence felt warm, not empty. Anna lifted her cup. To choosing yourself. We raised our mugs. Julia added, to second chances. Grace smiled, to the quiet power of healing. I looked at them, these women who stood by me, laughed with me, rebuilt pieces with me. To us, I said. To the women no one expected to rise. The sun dipped lower. Shadows stretched across the garden. The roses caught the light just right, glowing with soft gold. I stepped outside alone for a moment, barefoot on the porch. I heard their laughter through the screen door. The wind moved through the trees. And I whispered, I'm still here. Not as someone's wife. Not as someone's mother. Just me. Julia? I called from the porch. Did you plant something new by the front steps? She looked up from the garden hose.
No.
Why? There's a rose. A red one. Just one. She wiped her hands. That can't be. The bush hasn't bloomed in weeks. It did now. We walked to the edge of the porch. There, between the brick and the soil, stood a single red rose.
Deep red.
Heavy petals. Still wet with morning dew. Julia whispered, Stephen's favorite. I know. You think. No, I said, my voice shaking. But maybe yes.
She didn't speak.
Neither did I. We just stared at it like it might speak first. After a moment, I bent down and touched the bloom gently. It's real. Julia crouched beside me. Do you think it means something? I don't believe in signs, I said. But this one feels like a whisper. A goodbye. Maybe a sorry. I sat on the porch step. The morning sun felt warm on my back. Do you miss him? Julia asked softly. Sometimes, I said. But not like before. How then? I miss who I thought he was. I miss believing someone could love me that completely. She sat beside me.
He did.
In his way. His way left bruises. I know. We stayed silent again. Grace's car pulled in. She stepped out holding coffee. Why are you two staring at the dirt? Julia smiled. Look closer. Grace peered over the railing. Well, I'll be damned. A rose. Just one, I said. She knelt. That wasn't here last week. I know. Grace stood. It's beautiful. It's strange, Julia added. Grace looked at me. You okay? I think so. Anna arrived next as if on cue. What's the occasion? Grace pointed. Ghost roses. Anna bent down. That's wow. You didn't plant this? No, I said. Anna crossed her arms. Then someone did. No one's been near it. She raised an eyebrow. So, what are you saying? I shook my head. I don't know. I feel something. Anna stepped back. Well, I vote we don't overthink it. Let it bloom. I think I will, I said. Grace handed me a mug. You look calm. I feel it. Is that allowed? Anna teased. Finally, I said. We moved to the porch swing. I looked at the cottage. This home. This quiet, stubborn, healing little space. Grace sipped her coffee. You remember the day you moved in? I nodded. Bare walls. Cold floors. Nervous heart. Julia laughed. You made us scrub every cabinet. I needed to start clean.
You did, she said.
Inside and out. Anna leaned forward. What are you going to do next? Wake up tomorrow, I said. Drink tea. Water the roses. Just live. That's it, she asked. That's everything, I said. Grace smiled. You've changed. I've arrived. The wind rustled the trees. Julia reached into her bag. I brought something. She pulled out a small photo frame. I took it carefully. It was a photo of all of us on the first day we started the women's group. Anna was mid-laugh. Grace had crumbs on her cheek. Julia was blurry from moving. I stood in the middle, smiling with my hands in my pockets. I remember this day, I said. You didn't want the photo taken, Grace said. I didn't feel worthy of it. Julia said, you do now. I feel real now. We hung the photo inside near the door. When I stepped back out, I looked at the rose again. It hadn't moved. Still proud. Still red. I whispered, it's okay. I'm free now. Talking to the rose? Anna asked. Maybe. No judgment, Grace said. I talk to my plants. I smiled. He never apologized, not in words. Some people don't know how, Julia said. I used to wait for an apology to move on, I said. I don't need it anymore. You forgave him? Grace asked.
No.
I outgrew the need to hear him say it. That's more powerful, Anna said. We sat in the quiet again. No one needed to fill it. No buzzing phones. No chaos. Just morning light, friends, and a blooming rose. I feel like I'm at the end of a book, Julia said. I feel like I'm starting a better one, I replied. Anna nodded. That's the trick, isn't it? Knowing when to turn the page. I stood. I'm going to paint the porch tomorrow. What color? Grace asked. Soft white. You always hated white, Julia said. I hated what it reminded me of, I said. Now it feels like peace. Grace raised her mug. To soft white porches. Anna added. To blooming again. Julia whispered. To ghosts that don't haunt but help. I looked at them. To the women who stayed, I said. The rose bent in the breeze, like a nod. I didn't cry. I didn't ache. I just breathed. I closed the door behind me. A new chapter began. How did this story make you feel? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them in the comments below. And if you found even a piece of truth in this tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the stories that matter. Also, check out the videos we've linked at the end. These are some of our most popular, most powerful stories. You might just find the one that stays with you.